Welcome. My name is Irena Hentea, and I am so glad you're able to join us today to make some fabulous recipes. I have with me Natalia, who's my older daughter, and we're going to be making some salmon, which is just fantastic, and salad, Brussels sprouts, and a really simple but elegant dessert with raspberries. So the first thing we're going to start as we're preparing the whole meal is we're going to start with the rice. That's going to take the longest. The salmon is going to be cooking really fast. So you got to start with the rice to prepare that, and then we're going to segue into making the sauce for the salmon we're going to make. So I have this brown rice that I got. It's called Four Sisters, and I'm going to go ahead and open it up. Do you want to go ahead and measure it? I think we have
Yes.
1 cup. And I already put in 2 cups of water in there. I think we're going to pour it in.
Awesome.
Yes, let's pour it in.
It's a team effort today.
So for rice, you definitely want to measure the amount of water and the rice. Yeah, there we go. All right. What I have here is some fresh ginger. So I'm going to use the fresh ginger, and I have sesame oil, rice vinegar, and soy sauce. And for the ginger, the easiest way to peel is to take your knife and just go exactly like this. And it's easier than going. You could go like this too. Actually, that's also a very good option. I usually don't use that. So whichever one you find easier. I think I generally use it this way because I think I don't waste as much of the ginger. But again, whichever one, obviously, as I'm demonstrating here. You can see, and even as you start something, just see what works for you. What's really important for the salmon is to have fresh ginger. Now, what do you think of fresh ginger?
It's good.
It's good? You like it?
I think it's nice. We always have fresh ginger around the house, so it's always nice to use it in the salmon.
Yeah. It will add a bit of a spice and a bit of a kick to it. I do definitely think it's worthwhile to go through this process. You could get some ginger in a jar, but definitely do not use powdered ginger. So, all right. Now, I have a grater here, and I'll be doing this quickly, and it goes really fast. Now, you might be wondering, how much ginger should you use? Remember, ginger is very, very spicy. So in the end, you can see that a small amount goes a long way. All right. There is a little bit of a woody portion here to the ginger. You're not going to be using that. However, what you can use this is add some water, and you essentially have like a ginger tea.
Awesome.
So I have quite a bit of ginger right here. It's gorgeous. The other thing I'm going to need is sesame oil.
And now we're making the sauce for the salmon, right?
Yes, we're making the sauce. You can make this even a day ahead, but if it's easier. So let's see. This is 1 teaspoon. All right. So let's see how much it really ended up here. 1, 2, so there's 3 teaspoons of ginger that ended up, not that I measured it exactly, planning on that. All right, so then I'm going to add initially just 2 teaspoons of the sesame oil. The rice vinegar is going to be a bit more. So I'm going to actually add 4, 2, 3, 4. So 2 of sesame, 4 of that, and then I have the soy sauce.
So we've been having this sauce for our salmon for so many years now. I can't even remember the first time we had it, but do you want to share how we kind of stumbled upon this recipe?
Sure. Okay, so it was several years ago, and we don't remember exactly.
I think it was more than several, because I remember being like this tall.
Okay. So I love making salmon, and I think I had gone to Hannaford's, and I had just picked up some salmon, and they had a sheet of white paper, like nothing fancy, and they were having recipes on it.
Yeah.
So I picked it up. Now, I got home, and that's when I read the recipe, when I got home, and I was like, oh, I don't have all these ingredients. So I said, okay, well, next time I'm at the store, I'll buy it. And that's how we started. It was a little different. The recipe actually included chives in the sauce. I've changed it through times. So it was just a plain recipe, and I can't even find it anymore. I memorized it, changed it through time, and it's become like really one of our most favorite recipes, right?
Yeah, totally.
So 2 teaspoons of soy sauce. The soy sauce has a lot of salt in it, so you're not going to add salt to that. What I have here is some chives from my garden. I picked it up today.
Very fun.
I know. And then I have some lemon. And what I'm going to use lemon and the chives is with the rice. So as a side dish, next to the salmon is going to be this. Now, I want to show you something really fun. Do you want to try this? How do I cut chives?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's just move this up a little bit.
I use scissors.
Yes. I didn't realize it was an actual question. To cut chives, my mom uses scissors.
Right.
It's a little bit of a hack from using a knife.
Yep.
And you can get them in however length of pieces as you want. So I'm just going to go through. And I don't know, we never have such thin pieces, or short pieces rather.
You don't have to worry about it.
So we're just going to...
It's going to add some greens and some color to the rice and a little bit of interest.
Yeah, I remember, again, when we were younger, we used to love going to the garden and like pretending we were rabbits and like eating the chives. Just kind of silly, but it looks like grass. So you're like, am I eating food or am I eating grass?
There we go.
Do you want to finish it off or should I?
Sure. All right. So yeah, again, I find it just kind of fun to use the scissors, and it's if you can have a pair of scissors that you dedicate just in the kitchen, that is a lot better. But it doesn't have to be anything fancy. So now we're gonna make the Brussels sprouts. The Brussels sprouts is just amazing how it grows. Sometimes you can buy it in a bag, but how amazing is this? The way it's on the stalk.
It's really quite cool.
Yeah, isn't it? And I just think it's incredible to see it. So I get this here in Acton at grocery stores. Some of them have it. I know Trader Joe's usually has it. What I do at this point is I just take them off the stalk. The nice thing about having them on a stalk is that they keep fresher for longer on here, and you just snap them like this, and then you also cut them in half. The reason I cut them in half, I did wash it also. Oh, so see, like a little bit right there. This is something you want to trim off. It doesn't look good, but that's all right. Do not worry. You can easily trim what's not as perfect, and do in fact trim it. And the reason you cut them in half is because, oh, this one's not as good. All right, so if it's not as good, go ahead and trim even more. You definitely don't want to eat that. So the reason you cut it in half is that it will boil super fast, and it will make this a faster cooking time. And what we're gonna do is cook it in boiling water for about 30 seconds, and then put it in the oven. And in the oven, go ahead and start it at 350 your oven, have it heated, and also have your cooking, your sheet pan, your cookie pan, also heated. You don't want to put it in, oh, all right, so this is not so good. Don't worry, there's so many here that there's plenty over here. So, all right, so keep going with this, and then when you have it all ready, you just end up putting it in the water, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty quick and easy.
It is quick and easy. So now we've got the Brussels sprouts all ready to go. And what we're going to do next is we're going to put it in a pot of hot water, preferably boiling. We're going to blanch it. So blanching is just a short period of time, not very long, and then we strain it, and then it goes in the oven.
Into the oven.
Into the oven, and then it will brown there. The reason
Yeah.
you're doing that is that it cuts down the amount of time that it will be needed to be in the oven. So you're really making all of this together fast, and it really becomes kind of effortless. You can definitely just use it and just put it in the oven if you have a lot of time. You could skip the blanching process, but I also think it adds a little bit of tenderness to that, right?
Yeah, I think it does something.
Yeah, it does something
does
to it.
something to it.
So, all right, so we're going to put it in the pot right now.
Awesome.
And
They look great.
They look great, yeah. I did add a little bit of salt to it. So do add a bit of salt to that. And then you can see, have enough water in there. Don't skimp on the water. And then you can strain it. So it doesn't need to be in here for very long. So I think it's about ready, right?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. All right. Do you want to go ahead and strain it?
Yep. I'm going to move my sleeves in case it's hot.
Oh my goodness. I didn't know that method.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got to use what you're working with.
Okay.
So we're just going to...
So now we're going to do the salad.
Yes.
And I started with a Vidalia onion. And I love using Vidalia onions in salads. So I cut half an onion. Now, I use it primarily just as a flavoring. We don't usually eat the onions, right?
Sometimes. You eat a few of them, but then you can
But you don't eat all of them.
hold on to them and saute them in eggs the next day.
Yeah.
There's so many great ways to reuse them, and you just get more and more flavor out of it.
That's right. So we started that, and then I'm going to use a little bit of salt. I love the Malden salt. I've told you guys about this the last time. And then you want to go ahead and cut that?
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and we'll cut the bottom off first. And then these came in pre-packaged that were already washed, so that is good. And we'll just cut it into pieces that we eyeball it to be like, that's a bite-sized piece, or close enough to. So we'll just go down like that.
So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of oil to my onions right here before I add the lettuce. So go ahead and now. And the other thing I really love is this raspberry infusion. It's from Silverleaf Farm in Concord, so right nearby. And we're going to use this. Just add a splash. It adds an incredibly wonderful flavor.
I'll leave this end piece like this. If you know, you know. It's probably the best piece of the salad.
Right, so go ahead and do the other one.
Do the other one.
And this is romaine lettuce, but you can use other lettuce, whatever you have on hand or whatever you can get.
We'll just put it in again.
The romaine lettuce with the salmon is really, really nice because the romaine is more crisp, but we're not making a Caesar salad. We're just using it in just kind of a regular salad with a little bit of dressing that you saw. We used the onion as a flavor on the bottom. I leave it in like this, so you have it prepped. You're not gonna toss it right until you serve it.
Yeah.
So then I do add a little bit more olive oil. Again, it's just over it, so you're not making a salad dressing, and then a little bit more of a splash. You just go around and then toss it all right when it's ready. So now I'm gonna prep the dessert, and it's really nice to just have a simple dessert after a meal. And what I'm making is raspberries with some melted chocolate and a little bit of whipped cream. And I have Cabot's whipped cream. I really like the style and the texture of that. I have some raspberries here, and I have some chocolate that I'm gonna melt. To melt chocolate, I still find it easiest is to put a pot, put some heating water, and then put another pot. It's the easiest way to melt the chocolate. And so I've already done that portion here. I'm gonna add the chocolate, and I just have milk chocolate in here. And you can see it will start melting, and then I have it turned off at the moment because it ended up getting a little bit too hot. It's gonna take a little bit of time. I do want to talk about the quince. I got a couple of emails from people asking me about the last episode where we did the apple and quince compote. And I have this quince that I got from Westward Orchards. They actually grow it. This is in Harvard, Mass. So if you weren't able to find some quinces, go over there and you can make the dessert from the last episode. So the idea behind this dessert is going to be, again, very fruity with a little bit of chocolate and a little bit of whipped cream. So simple to whip up, essentially. And it's also a great finish to the meal. You can use this on, with other meals as well. And it's also a great dessert to bring along if you don't have much time to bake and you're going somewhere for a holiday event. It's really nice and presentable. So let's see how the chocolate is doing. All right, so the chocolate has already started melting. You can see right here. And it didn't take much. And it's got, so again, I'm using milk chocolate. You can use dark chocolate if that's more of what you prefer. I've always just liked milk chocolate a little bit better. And you can see right here, just a little bit, I can show you what it would be end up. You add just a bit of chocolate on top of it. So this is going to be, you just melt it and then add it to your fruit. And you just freeform. It's not making a pattern or anything like that. It's simple and at the same time just incredibly elegant. Be careful so you have the chocolate all melted. I used a combination of Lindt chocolate and Hershey's Kisses. And here we go. So you'll just keep adding the chocolate as it melts and maybe stir it around a little bit. There we go. This will help it go a little faster. But again, you can see in here, I have just a pot of water that I heated up, actually boiled. Then I have another pot that I added on top. You can buy specially made that are just for melting chocolate. Like you can buy that, but really you can make your own. So no need to do that if you don't make this very often. All right, so here we go. Adding a little more chocolate up here. And some of the raspberry is going to have more chocolate, some are going to have a bit less. It's totally fine. And some are having globs of it, and some are having a bit less. So, okay, so all my chocolate now has melted, so I can add all of it. And there we go. And in terms of the whipped cream, do the whipped cream right before you serve it. You can also toss it a little bit if you'd like. Oops, careful with that. So can add a little bit on the edges, the whipped cream, and maybe right on top as well. And some people may want the whipped cream, some people may not. Just leave it out like that. And there you go. You have a beautiful dessert ready in minutes and incredibly good flavors. And the quince, again, for the quince and apple compote, I'm so glad some of you are trying out how to make that. So we finished the Brussels sprouts. They baked in the oven. Remember, we blanched them for like 30 seconds or so. So now we have the finished product. I'll add a little bit of salt. I love the Malden salt. And let me take these over and move them over in a bowl that we're going to use. And
Nice. They look great.
don't they look great?
They look nice and crispy, but they'll be tender because we blanched them. When you have them in the oven, you just check every now and then to see how brown they're getting, and you can just judge it based on how crispy you like your Brussels sprouts.
For sure.
Should I add some oil?
So a little bit of finishing olive oil is really a wonderful touch to it.
Awesome. I don't want to pour too much.
Is it coming out?
Nope, not yet.
Coming out?
Give it a second.
There we go.
Nice. Okay.
There we go.
Just a little bit.
It's just a little bit, it's just a touch. And you've got a really great side dish. For the rice, if you remember, I had the brown rice that we cooked. It was like 1 cup of rice and 2 cups of water. The important thing to note is I never add salt to when I cook the rice, because with rice, you can do so much. You can do savory dishes, or you can incorporate it as a base into some desserts as well. So just in case, I just don't do that. So right now, we have the chives that you can add in.
Yep, and we'll just go ahead and we'll add them to the pot.
And then a little bit of salt. All right.
And then we'll mix it. And then the reason we're really waiting to add the chives towards the end, when we're almost at cooking the salmon, is because you don't want the chives to sit for too long and sort of wilt. So that way it's,
It's fresh.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we're also adding lemon. So I'm cutting a whole lemon in here. However, I don't have a tremendous amount of rice, so I will not use all the juice from a lemon. That just might be like way overpowering. So, all right. So I have half a lemon in here, and I think these are also great. The way to juice a lemon. All right, so I really used half a lemon. I didn't squeeze it all the way. And then add that. And it adds a really, really nice tang. Now you can taste it, and if you want more lemon juice, by all means, add more lemon juice. So now we're ready to cook the salmon. So the salmon is the last thing you're going to prepare as you're about to serve the meal. It cooks super fast, and it's the one thing that you want really hot to go on the table. Now, I have, both of these are about a pound. So let's assume you're serving for 4. That is a really great amount, I would say. Now, one of the things that I like to do, instead of cooking the whole slab like this, I like to cut it. And the really great, easy way is to use tongs so you don't get your hands all dirty. And you can hold it like this. It cuts through. And there's the skin underneath, so it's very difficult for the knife to make it through. So that's when I use the kitchen scissors. So I lift them up like this, and you use the tongs as a guide. And there we go. Oh, almost. I think this one is stuck too. I cut the other one, you can see that. So you lift it up a little bit.
Nice.
And there you go. And you've got it. And I'm gonna show you why this is so important, because you'll be able to cook it even easier. So now I have a cast iron pan. I love these. They're so nice and flat. Let me turn this on. All right.
Got it.
And you want it to go on hot, really high. As you put the salmon in, add a little bit of actually it's not olive oil, it's sunflower oil.
So there's enough oil to lightly cover the bottom of the pan, right?
Yes, exactly, not swim in it. So we're gonna see that I did have it preheated, but we're gonna wait just a tiny bit. What you want to add to the salmon is a little bit of salt. Now, remember, we're using soy sauce. So we're not adding too much salt, just barely. But it's still really critical to add a little bit of salt to the salmon because it will help with the cooking. So then I turn it over. I also add salt on the other side. It just helps it for the cooking. So again, it's very light because you already have a bit of saltiness from the soy sauce. All right, so let's see if this looks about ready. I think it looks, I think it definitely is. So we'll add the salmon, definitely, yeah. That's good.
And then you always add it with the skin down, right?
I always add it with the skin down, yes. Oops, a little splash there. And I'll see if I can fit the last one in.
Nice.
And moving them over a tiny bit. This one. It's okay. If the skin kind of comes off a little bit, do not worry about it. And the interesting thing about cooking salmon, it's always a little bit of variation. It's depending on how the salmon is that you just bought. But really important, buy the salmon the same day you're going to cook it. Don't buy it a day or 2 days ahead. Really, the best way is to always have it super fresh. If you're going to buy it in the morning, try and keep it on some ice in the refrigerator. You want to make sure it's really, really fresh. So right now, we'll see if we can, how this is doing. Okay. Well, I think it is doing all right. It needs a little more. I'm gonna get this off.
Yeah, the pieces we have today, they're a little thicker.
They are
So
a little
you need
thicker.
to cook it a bit longer. But if you have a thinner piece, you can watch the edges and judge by the thickness.
Yes. So you can see here on the edge as it's getting cooked. All right. So the idea behind a lot of this cooking is to make it effortless or almost effortless. Make it such that you start out with whatever is the dish that's going to take the longest. In our case was the rice. And then you finish it up with the salmon. So you have everything ready on the table, kind of like a symphony. It all comes together. And you can see nothing takes a long time. Nothing is a lot of preparation. And you'll have each one of these elements, though, you can separate them. And if you need to go for a potluck or go to somebody's house and bring a dish, you can easily bring just even one of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see on this. All right.
Here, I'll let you get right behind it.
Okay. So, I do have this cover that I love to use. We're going to let it for a little bit longer. And it's interesting. This one in the middle is cooking faster than the ones on the side. So you'll notice that. So I'm going to turn this one first. Now, in this case, the skin kind of came apart, which is fine. You probably weren't planning on eating the skin anyway. I'm going to just move this over. So don't worry if that happens. Whoa. What you're really trying to primarily do here is just cook the salmon. Okay, this portion broke up a little bit. It's okay. All right, let's see on this one. Well, on this case,
Look at that turn.
I know. But the
Third
skin
one
on that
is the charm.
yeah. Well, this one also came off. The skin came off. Oh, let's turn it over. All right, not super elegant here, but it's totally okay. All right, again, this actually makes it easier. You weren't planning on eating the skin anyway. And you'll see when you do this dish, you added to the soy sauce with ginger and vinegar, and it's really actually nice to have it break up a little bit because it will take more of the sauce. All right, so let's see how this is doing. Now, this one's my biggest cut, and what you can do is you can also cook it slightly on both sides. And I'm still holding this. All right, so there we go. Let's see this. And okay. Whoa. So be very careful. You still need it on hot though. It's tempting to put the heat on low, but you're better off just keeping it on hot. Okay, so some portions of it, if I could have the plate. This is already done. So I'll move this over. Okay. All right. So I think this is almost done, but I can see that it's not. All right, so the skin comes off so nicely on this one too. Okay. All right, let's see. Okay, so I have this one ready. Let's see how these other ones are doing. So, take off of the skin. Okay, almost done. This one looks like it needs a little more time. So you are active when you're cooking the salmon. You really need to be right nearby. And let's see. Oh, there we go.
It has such a great color.
I know.
It looks really, really nice.
Okay. So this one is all finished. But this one still needs a little more. Okay. So, lots of memories making salmon, right?
Of course.
Yeah. And there are other variations that we do at home, but this is probably our favorite, right?
Yeah, I would say this is the one we do the most.
Yeah. Okay. I do like to make salmon somewhat well done. Different people have different, so I will turn it over and make sure it's done. I think we can turn this off now though. All right, so by this point the oil is so hot that we're good to just let it
Yeah. What's great too about the sauce is the way it really gets on the most area of the fish is you don't have it just like in the one piece.
Yes.
Right? It's great to be able to break it up a bit.
Right.
And that way too you can also check how much you want to cook how well done you want the salmon.
Yeah, so I have here portions that some are better, more well done than others. So right here, these are more medium. And then I'll add the sauce. So we have the sauce that we prep right in the beginning with the rice. And we keep the salmon on a platter and add the sauce all around it. And this is really amazing. So keep, again, the salmon on a platter. You have the ginger right here. We can distribute it a little bit. But you've got such goodness right here. So I hope you try it. I really do. And contact me. Let me know how it goes, if it turned out well for you. And I really hope you'll enjoy this recipe as much as our family has enjoyed it through the years.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining me. My name is Irena, and this is Natalia. And we made a fabulous meal, and I hope that you'll try all of it or just parts of it, whatever works for you. The salmon is such a showstopper.
Truly.
Yes, and we've enjoyed this forever. And this is such a great dessert that you can go, whether it's summer or winter, it's a fabulous thing. The Brussels sprouts is so easy to make, and even if you know people who don't like Brussels sprouts, you'll be amazed. They're gonna love it. The rice has a bit of tang of lemon, and it just adds that extra kick. And this is a fabulous salad with romaine lettuce that also just pairs, the crunchiness pairs really well with the salmon. I would love to hear from you again. My email is irena@irenarealtygroup.com. It's also in the description. Reach out to me. I'd love to send you more tips. And I just love to hear that you've tried it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.